Do you have a spiritual life?
Well, it sort of depends on what spiritual means.
So what do you think spiritual means? I mean, it is one of those words that kind of needs to be defined for everyone. Some people, it's like their religion, and it's a very specific kind of thing. For some people, it's a very vague kind of yoga and crystals and some meditation classes and stuff like that. And for me, it is the life of the human being that's beyond the physical and the material. That also is a little bit more than just thought, because we have thoughts,
Right.
but those are physical because there's neurons that are bouncing around.
Right.
So
I mean, maybe there's some dimension where thoughts exist or something. Because I don't, what is a thought and what is a, I mean, is it? I mean, I'm not sure what thoughts are. Whether there's some manifestation of thought in a way that is different from the physical dimensions we're aware of. And there's certainly things that we don't understand about the universe. But I'm less convinced that there's, say, some super consciousness watching over our every movement and kind of evaluating it against some criteria, and deciding whether we're going to go to one place or another when we die. I think that's unlikely.
right, I think that's very unlikely,
Right.
too. I personally do believe in God, but I don't define God in that way. I would define God as closer to being like science,
Right.
or the energy, the laws that propel science, because science really quantifies. So what is it quantifying?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I mean, and it does beg the question: if there is some super consciousness, where did the super consciousness come from? And so I think the most likely explanation is that complexity evolved from simplicity. That the simple elements over time combined to become more complex and arrived at what we are. It's also possible, though, that we're in a simulation.
That we're in a simulation like the Matrix?
Yeah. Well, different from the Matrix, but a simulation of sorts. Yeah.
Well, this whole world could be a dream.
Could be a dream. Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, it could be a simulation. I mean, have you ever played like the advanced video games and how realistic they're getting?
I know it is like a whole nother life.
Right.
Yeah, with the goggles and everything, and 3D and
Yeah,
all of that stuff.
it could be that that's what we know to be Earth. Maybe we're some other creature's avatar.
You're blowing my mind. You deal with so much stuff. I mean, you deal with space travel and energy and the source of consciousness, and you're thinking about all of these giant life's big questions. What blows your mind? What gives you awe?
Well, I think that, I mean, the nature of the universe gives me awe, and just the huge expanse of the universe, and just how far away things are and how big they are. And the fact that there are things like supermassive black holes that are equal to 1 billion suns.
What about dark matter? Doesn't that freak you out too?
Yeah, and dark matter is also. I mean, dark matter, dark energy are kind of interesting because I'm not sure what those actually are. People don't know what those actually are, and particularly dark energy. In fact, this is why that may be an argument for this being a simulation, because in a simulation, you wouldn't, you could just make things be however you want. The laws don't all have to be consistent.
But that could be a great argument for heaven and earth, and it's another way of looking at it, is that this physical plane is like a video game, and we're down here thinking it's very real, just like our avatars do in Call of Duty or whatever game we're playing, and then we get unplugged in our 80s, and then we're onto some other plane or some other reality,
right,
where we go, oh, that was just a video game,
right,
that whole time, and I thought it was real.
Yeah.
What would you say to young people that want to change the world, that have big ideas? What advice could you give?
I would say, go do it. Just go out there and do it. The biggest thing I think people fail to do is that they're too afraid to try things. That they shouldn't be afraid of failing, and they should just go and do it.
Did you fail at anything that you tried?
I've lost. I've not lost a war, but I've lost battles, certainly. The first three flights of the Falcon 1 rocket that crashed. So,
Wow, that must have been a big bummer.
yeah, it was a big bummer.
Did you cry?
No.
No? I'll make you cry. With the new lightning round from Soul Pancake. Do you own my book?
No, I don't.
You suck. Okay, what do you worship?
Well, I don't really worship anything, but I do devote myself to the advancement of humanity using technology.
What can technology never replace?
I think human feeling.
Are you a workaholic?
I suppose I am. I work a lot.
What fuels your creativity?
Pressure. Necessity.
What do you do to unplug and relax?
Well, I like going to the movies. I like going to parties, having dinner with friends. I go to Burning Man. That's pretty fun.
Did you go to Burning Man?
Sure.
What do you do there?
It's just like a crazy sort of Mad Max meets Vegas meets Alice in Wonderland.
Do you put on a hippie wig?
No, I usually have some kind of costume. I went as Darth Vader once.
Do you believe there's life on other planets?
I think there's a good chance that there's simple life on other planets. It's much more of a question as to whether there's complex life like consciousness.
With all the trillions of stars and all those trillions of planets, you don't think that, isn't that an arrogant statement to say we're probably the most evolved in all of the universe?
Well, no, I'm not saying that we probably are. Just I think that the chances of consciousness are much lower, particularly in our galaxy. Because we have to ask the question, if there's consciousness, where is it?
Can science and religion coexist?
Probably not.
Do you pray?
I don't. I didn't even pray when I almost died of malaria.
Wow, that's really not praying.
Right.
So you put your money where your bug spray was.
Yeah.
What's your life's big question? What's the big question you personally wrestle with?
Well, I mean, I guess I wrestled with the question of what is the question? Like from the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. The answer is the universe. What's the question?
One of the world's greatest entrepreneurs is here in the back of my van. What's your big ideas? How do you want to be an entrepreneur? What kind of passion or dream do you want to pursue to make the world a better place, to take humanity to the next level? Can you upload it on a video or write it down in the comments below? I'll tell you what, I'll give you a bite.
Okay.
You give me a Tesla.
Sounds like a good deal.
Deal?
Deal. Shit.
Yes! Score!
Soul Pancake, subscribe!